should have means we can say about 8 chapters, and chapter 1 should have brief description of the project, like site location maps, their periphery in the vicinity, then related activity and their schedule, implementation schedule, means at what time they will complete their construction. And then chapter 2 of conservation plan should be about ecological profile, like present status of the forest. Second data from forest department you can procure, and status of wildlife based on the primary secondary data, and the status of schedule 1 animal based on primary or secondary data whatever available, human settlement in and around area of 5 km periphery, human wildlife conflict if any encountered during your survey. Chapter 3 is about impact due to the project, like impact on structure, quality, extent of wildlife habitat, and evolution of size with the presence of movement, a dispersal corridor, presence of other specific features, impact of water availability, quality for wild animals due to the project activities should be assessed. Qualitative as well as quantitative impact on schedule 1 animal, schedules 1 or 2 species associated with different phases of the project should be identified. Anticipated impact on climate change resulting from project. And chapter 4 should be about changes in dependencies on CPR, and changes in land use pattern, change in fish productivity if applicable, alternative livelihood options. And chapter 5 is about human wildlife interaction and risk of conflict. And chapter 6 should be about specific mitigation measures for your anticipated impact and including the human wildlife conflict. Then chapter 7 is about post project monitoring and evaluation plan. Evaluation plan means that is the monitoring type of, and then conclusion, and also we have to annex the supporting document if any, and bibliography if you have taken secondary data. So there is a criteria for evaluating the completeness of EB report. If we are preparing the EB report for EIA IMP, then how we can check, or how one can check this EB report is complete. So there is a criteria. First is enough information on the impact area is provided. So how? The question is, the location map showing the biodiversity area? If yes, yeah, of course it's provided. In terms of establishment, project, distance, area, surface water body, ecological sensitive area, etc. And second question is about information, has the impact area been described keeping in mind the biodiversity impact? Wherever biodiversity impact are likely to occur over a larger area. And in terms of baseline study, is comprehensive or not, then we have to some checklist of questionnaire, like have the component of the biodiversity likely to be affected, yes or no. Does the information include listing of endemic and endangered species from that area, yes or no. Where applicable, does the baseline data identify and enumerate flora and fauna including seasonal variations, routes, spawning, breeding grounds, migration, etc. And then has the importance of biodiversity element present in the impact area is addressed or not. Were biodiversity expert involved in conducting the study by himself? Does the method of collection of primary biodiversity data conform to the guideline of MFCC? Has sources of secondary data been referred to? Are gaps and limitation of the baseline biodiversity data indicated, and means to deal with them are explained or not? And also we have another attribute, that is all the possible impact on all component of biodiversity are predicted. For that we have a questionnaire, that is, one is, in order to effectively address biodiversity impact, it is imperative that biodiversity impact are not merged with broader category of ecological impact. Are direct biodiversity impact described? Are indirect, secondary, cumulative biodiversity impact described appropriately? Are short-term, long-term impact on biodiversity due to air, noise, water pollution described? Next question is, has the significance of impact been assessed? Next question is about, does the impact on biodiversity cover all these three levels like ecosystem, species and genetic level? And are biodiversity impact predicted in quantitative as well as qualitative terms? The criteria is like an effort is made to effectively involve the stakeholder. So for that we have four questions like, what vulnerable stakeholder of project identified, what effective measure taken to inform stakeholder, what current and potential ecological services provided by affected ecosystem discussed appropriately, what concern to public reading regarding biodiversity impact adequately addressed in mitigation plan. And next criteria is alternative with least biodiversity damage. So for that we have to check like, have biodiversity impact of alternative solution or site being described, are compared with proposed development with likely future condition in zero option development. And criteria like effective mitigation measure for the predicted impact are proposed. So for that we have three questions like, one is mitigation a part of the project design? Are mitigation measure proposed to address the biodiversity impact at all levels like genetic, species, landscape, etc.? Or is effectiveness of mitigation measure addressed and all the gaps has been identified or not? Next criteria is effective biodiversity monitoring plan. For that, one question is, a monitoring plan for biodiversity impact is proposed or not? Otherwise, are in detail of criteria and indicator to be used during the monitoring available in the report? Also, have the limitation in monitoring biodiversity been identified and addressed? So these are the criteria on which we can have a look of completeness of EB report. So what are the challenges in BIA? Challenges are, first, lack of regional biodiversity data. We have not a regional and local biodiversity data. Second is the most important, of course, lack of clearing defined TAR. We have standard TAR, but they are silent on biodiversity assessment. They are having just ecological status. And then inconsistent and insufficient mechanism for evaluating the compliances of the biodiversity. The fourth challenge is about weak enforcement of legislation, lack of adequate budget for EIA, and short timelines, and failure to address cumulative effect of the development. So for mitigation, after assessing all the impact, the regular assisted intrusions of men or an equipment into the nesting area of birds should be avoided. Restricting the input of the polluting substance into the water course, water body, estuary or any open sea can mitigate impact upon fish or aquatic population. During the planning phase of an activity, an attempt should be made to avoid extending into home range wild animals. Additionally, when a part of activity involves water level control, changes should be such a level should be programmed to extent it is possible. So, after extensive anthropogenic interventions or activity in natural ecosystem or natural resources in recent times, results the loss in biodiversity. Therefore, it is needed to have a strong policy of biodiversity conservation, because EIA notification 2006 or 19 is much silent about BIA and biodiversity loss, or we can say conservation of that biodiversity. So there is urgent need to have a look about for EB expert, because EB expert play a significant role in EIA studies for ecological status of that area and the assessment of negative and positive impact of that industry or proposed activity, and then they have to make a plan including the green belt or shelter belt for some negative impact. And also EB experts should have proposed list of tree for green belt in 3 tier as per soil and local condition of that area. An EB expert play a key role in EIA EMP preparation as ecology biodiversity is promising, most promising and key area. So we have to conserve our the current biodiversity in that local area. Thanking you.